But when you measure it flat, it contradicts that. I'm spitting flat facts and that. And I know you don't like that. Google Maps is flat, it presents elevation profiles like that. I'm a spitting flat earth king. Sentence has a ring, doing my own thing. If earth was a big roast chicken, factually finger licking chicken, we just got the measurements missing. I'm spitting eggs and begs, begging the question lesson. I've said it before, time after time. I'm the spitting flat earth king of rhyme.
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe. Hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere, and there's also a coffee, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Speaking of patrons, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon. So a massive shout of thanks and appreciation to Smith Tools and Purchase, Level Playing Poem, Vitali Z, Colton James, Survive the Spin, Thomas van der Zander, Measured Flat, Tiers Morgan, Mitch Kennedy, Rod, The Name's Burley, JMails24, Unimento, Iron26, Retro Bill, John Kays, Patrick Gunnels, Hairy Blade, Mobile Mac 777, Rob W, Del West Watson, Unbelievable Productions, Blue Ridge Ranger, Abraham Mohammed, Skeptic 936, Texas Mike, Chow Young Cat, and Dank. So another massive thank you to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Links to Patreon, as I say, will be below this video. But with that, I will hand across to whoever is in Discord and Google so you can enjoy their dulcet tones while I set up for today's live show.
Oh yeah, 24/7. Yeah. Other than that, I'll pop in over there throughout the day when it's kind of quiet here, you know.
Right on.
Hello.
Good morning, Nathan.
You?
Morning.
How's everybody doing today?
Good, good. I'm going to be back in about 20 minutes. I'll leave everything set up. Not that you need to know that or care.
Sounds good. Well, I know we're in March now, and Nathan's had to take a few days to edit the book, so I definitely feel that vibe that we're getting super close to releasing it.
Hopefully by Easter.
Easy.
Hopefully
Is
by
that where the
Easter.
bunnies lay eggs?
That's the target around Easter.
I hope to have
That's
all my
Nathan.
nonsense settled as well by then. That would really be wonderful, and then I could certainly buy my 2 copies I've been waiting to purchase.
Yeah, that's Nathan's target area, Easter. And I think we just completed chapter 10 yesterday.
How many chapters do you think it's going to be in total?
Forgot what he said. 14 or 16, something like that.
I hope he gives consideration to doing the audio version as well with his own voice, because he's got a nice clean voice, you know.
It's got the
Yeah,
mic for him too.
I'm sure everything that was discussed before the betrayal is still in play. Just get it into book form first, which he's doing, and then, one by one. Maybe then get it into print, then maybe get it into audio, then get it, what do you call that? Translated. There's a guy that does the translating. He's on the panel. He hasn't been here in a little while, but he pops in messages here and there.
Yeah, I think in today's world, you know, if you could trust it, you might even be able to run it through AI and get it translated into many different languages.
Ventriloquorum. He wants to translate it into a few different languages. So it's like getting one step at baby steps. Once Nathan gets into, all right, the book is completed, all chapters done, then take it from there. Right now, it's still in the editing process, but it's moving along nicely. Who's in Discord? What's up, Adam? Good to see you back.
Morning. How are you guys?
Doing good. Just waiting on Nathan. He had to step away for a minute. I'm sure he'll be back at the beginning of the show. What I think is happening is the old school guys are getting a little nervous. All right. So now they're coming out of the woodworks. I figured got a message from.
You mean
Well, I got a
you meant
message.
Phil?
Huh?
You meant Phil?
Yes. Did you read that?
Yep. He said, "How dare?" What was something like, "How dare flat earthers say he got the latitude from something?" And
Polaris.
I was like, "Well, how did he get his latitude?" And it was like,
Yeah.
I don't know about that part either. I'm sure that maybe he's got something that he thinks is something, but it's going to be nothing. So
Who gives a shit? You get it from Polaris or whatever, any other star you want to mention, you dumbass. It doesn't matter which star you got it from. It's still elevation angle, regardless.
every GP is a 90. But no, every GP is a 90. Every start to this is always a 90. At horizontal, at what we use as Earth, no matter where we are on Earth, no matter when. It's gotten crazy simple, like slam dunk.
Oh no, you flat earthers said Polaris. These all made that fairy tale up. It was let me find the name because it's funny. Okay, so let's read it all out so there's no dead air. This is Professor Phil Bell, who I've never even spoken to. As you can see at the bottom, if you look in Master B, it says wave to Professor Phil. No, thank you. But this is what I get at midnight last night. What do you suppose the engineers at Garmin or TomTom will say if you ask them where their satellites are located and how do they move? Then it goes on to say that was March 4th. Now March 5th, which is today at 4 o'clock in the morning for me. Why are you parroting the nonsense that latitude was created by taking elevation angles to Polaris? This made up history was manufactured by flat earthers. Hipparchus created longitude and latitude in 160 BC in order to create a grid system on a globe to pinpoint exact locations on the
That did hit me
surface
kind of
of
funny.
Earth. Hold on, let me finish. Then we go back. At that time, he created the system. Polaris was not the pole star. In fact, the pole star was Chab, Beta Ursa Minoris. Of course, flat earthers need to make up their own version of history. It's not a coincidence that it is impossible to calculate the distance from one longitude latitude coordinate to another longitude latitude coordinate without using spherical geometry. So obviously, celestial navigation cannot work on flat Earth. Now, how many flat Earth prerequisites did you count in that?
It's 4.
At least. This dumbass doesn't know what longitude and latitude are. He doesn't know what
Yeah, how to get his
freaking,
latitude.
what's the grid system? Oh, flat, right?
It's weird. It's like they want so bad to argue this that they'll go to you at midnight and start talking to you as if they've been in an argument already with you. You know what I mean? Just because you said something or because you know something, and they want you to believe differently. So it's like they yell at a wall. You're literally not talking back to him, and he's sending you days of thought, toward you. It's very creepy.
Yeah, and he's just making himself look stupid because everything in there is flat Earth. Are you stupid or something? They didn't use the pole star, they used something different. Did you get an elevation angle? Yes. Okay, so you measured Earth flat with a different star. Is that what you're telling me? Well, freaking retard. But they're scrambling now
So he didn't
because,
use the pole star?
well, they're scrambling now because they're hearing that we don't even argue it anymore. We came to the conclusion that there never was an argument. It was set up in a way to appear like there was an argument, but that's because we were missing a flat earth they were using right at the beginning of this debate. Sea level.
It just is what it is. You just get around by level, from level, levelly. I don't know if levelly is a word. So is he saying they didn't use the pole star, or is he saying that there was a different pole star at that time?
Yeah, he's saying that it wasn't Polaris. At the time, it was called freaking Hipparchus. Well, that's the guy, and it was created. Let's see. In fact, the pole star was Kochab, Beta Ursae Minoris. The pole star
Like, I'm
was, yeah.
getting like thoughts in my head that are like questions about this. But now I'm just, at this point, I'm like, so use a different one to measure it flat. I got you.
Yeah, he's they're reaching for shit. There's nothing. Listen, I don't give a shit about anything else. You measure Earth flat. You can't get around it. That's how it is on the maps. We totally missed that in the early days. Totally missed it. And like Refracted says, at its origin, at its beginnings, at its inception, the inch was not arced. It was straight. And that's where we start all our measurements from, straight. So there's no arced freaking measurement. So anytime you measure from the inch to freaking the mile is flat, straight. And we measure Earth. We've mapped it. Just look at a freaking map.
I was just thinking that that's the whole point of this whole thing for them, is to get you to the point where you ignore where the start was and you get to imagine.
Yeah.
Because they feel like if they get to imagine, then they get to prove.
Well, I always felt like they never talked about celestial navigation. Never. You'd hear it in passing. Celestial navigation only works on a globe. You heard Rumpus say that in passing. But when 10th came in and studied the books and started leaking it out to us and teaching us, through the pre-shows about celestial navigation, we're like, whoa. So now I said, that's why they never talked about celestial navigation, because for them to talk about celestial navigation, they would have been proving Earth is flat. That's why they stood away from it.
I think that was about the time I came in, about 600, 700, give or take.
Yeah, that's when I came in, around that. I was listening to the shows around that time, yeah. I came into the conversation as far as being part of it during COVID. But yeah, I started listening around 600, around there, give or take. I wish I knew the first show I was on.
I mean, I'm looking at the zenith and or the azimuth, the altitude, the meridian, the sun, all that good stuff, the elevation angle. It's just what's done. It doesn't matter what he thinks is done or what thinks could have happened or what lore he reads. It doesn't matter what he says. This is what's done. It's right there on the screen. It's flat as hell.
It's either actually a straw man or a red herring, because you're trying to take it away from the point to bring it to another star. It does not freaking matter. You've taken an elevation angle from Polaris, Horab, whatever the hell the name of it is, does not matter. You freaking took an elevation angle. You've measured Earth flat. Calculations. If calculations don't adhere to the measurement, you throw the calculations out. In fact, it says that I've said it a million times. They'll never tell you, they'll never give you curved measurements. They'll tell you there's evidence of curvature, but they'll never give you a measurement. Well, it's degrees in distance when you use the theodolite. Distance. That can only be flat. We had a guy
I'm
coming.
pretty sure it's got pre-baked numbers.
Well, we had a guy coming the other day when it was all quiet. He's Alpha Murphy 72. I used to see him in the top of the freaking chat
Yeah, I heard it.
every morning. Is he there today?
I was just saying I heard it. Go on. Sorry.
Oh yeah, Nathan played the video. Yeah, that was the show he put on yesterday when while we were editing the book. Yeah, so you heard what happened with that. That guy's a moron. He only wanted to focus on was something. All he wanted to focus on was the GP is not in the right place on my globe.
That was pretty funny. It is pretty funny to think they're scrambling. Like I wrote it yesterday. It used to be us kind of trying to like figure out our way around their bull, but now it's more like them trying to figure out their own way around their bull.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're doing. So I'm saying it's not work. Don't work on the ball. We're constantly focusing in on the ball when the flat Earth was there the whole time to create the ball.
I mean, Phil literally is talking to nobody. He's talking to the air at you. You know what I mean? Not really to you, but at you, just to justify himself.
Yeah, and he's not even doing it. He's just proving it. He's just told me another way they measured Earth flat. Oh, they didn't use the pole star? Oh, that's nice. Could have used another star. Okay. That's nice. What'd you say? Spherical what? Oh, that's a contradiction. No spherical geometry. There's geometry and that's it.
It's getting sad. Like it's like I said, it's almost like getting to picking on the slow kids.
Yeah, we're not even picking on the slow kids. The slow kids are coming here and trying to present something intellectual. Like look at Eddie Bear. Have you seen my measured flat destructive dichotomy argument? No, we don't argue this no more. It's measured flat. The game's over. It's been over. Where you been? No. You gotta look. What do you mean it's over? What do you mean you don't need knowledge for this? No, there's really no knowledge in measurement. It's just a freaking measurement.
Well, it's all about his argument for him, you know? It's like if he can imagine past the beginning part, he wins.
Yeah, in his own mind. He's another one talking about pi equals 2. Dude, do you realize once you've taken one elevation angle, right, it's over because of the distance of flatness there. It's over. I won't even say this can't happen. You can't take that measurement on a curve. That I don't even need to say that anymore. Dude, you measured Earth flat. What is wrong with you? And that's what we were
Step
trying to
one is
say to
level
that.
your tools.
Yeah, that's what we were trying to tell that Alpha Murphy guy. Do you realize you've come in with all flat measurements? So what? I don't give a shit about anything else. I don't care. Yeah, everything's out of place. That's nice. Go to the freaking people that created the maps and tell them that they're trying to fit flat Earth measurements on a ball. Go see them. Leave us alone. We know it's flat. You're still scrambling.
I told a guy on YouTube the other day, like, I don't care about you. I'm talking around you, not to you. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not here for Glovers, because honestly, like, Glovers might have kind of sucked me in at the beginning, but I've passed the need for them. You know, like it was like it's like I said, at first it was me trying to figure out, oh, what about South? What about this? What about that? What about the stars? But then you figure out, oh, it's all 90. It's all horizontal. And the things about horizontal could never make a globe. It's pretty friggin' simple. Gas pressure requires containment. I said gas pressure requires containment first, and some pissant glober had to go, you repeated yourself there. And I said, sorry, you're right. I'm sorry about the redundancy between saying required and first. You'll find that most friggin' words you say mean or need flat or containment. You know, fuck them. Sorry. Anyway, how's everybody? Good, Adam.
I'm still in the dark here.
Oh man, that sucks.
Yeah, yo, who was that guy in chat? That dude freaking pissed me off. But before I could even say anything, Nathan was all over his ass.
I'd seen him once before, so I didn't really know if I had remembered if he was a Glober or not.
No,
So I wasn't even going to jump in.
he was. I seen him. It goes by not buying the bullshit, right?
Yeah.
So he came in the other day, freaking attacking Nathan on some points. So when he came in yesterday, Nathan was like, "Who the freak are you? Why would you ask that question?"
I mean, I'm really good at, like, judging a Glober by, like, the first sentence, but damn, Nathan was on it yesterday, I gotta be honest.
Dude, shoot, what's up, Len? I didn't even see you. Len is here. It says Len and one other. Well, I'll click OK. He's here too.
Hey up, Neil. How you doing?
Good. I didn't see you.
Nathan about? We getting a live show today, buddy?
Yeah, he said he had to step away for 20 minutes, so I think he'll be back. I hope he'll be back for the start of the show. So he will.
Good stuff.
I don't know, I disappointed myself the other day when I felt myself getting angrier at that person, and I finally broke down and I said, you know, how about fuck yourself, kill yourself? And then I told him, put me in the note. I care about that as much as I care about what you feel about Earth. And I left that for like 2 days before I was like, ugh, I felt bad. So I just took it off.
Yeah, don't let them get under your skin. You're in a position of freaking comprehension where they're not. You know Earth is measured flat, so they're the ones getting frustrated. Don't let them frustrate you. You know, we need to take that approach, like Professor Phil. This whole thing that uh, about not measuring from Polaris to get longitude latitude. It was a different star. I don't give a shit what it was. You still measure it flat.
We certainly do it now.
No matter what you do, you measure it flat. So you want to believe that? That's nice, Professor Phil. We haven't heard a word from you in years. You're just gonna pop and send me a message at 4 o'clock in the morning? What the frick is wrong with you? Go enjoy your
Someone's been
globe.
thinking about you.
All right, go enjoy your globe. Go tell the story of how you move satellites around with your computer, and you're this big guy. That you feel powerful. So be it. Why do you need to tell me this? How
Hey,
are you?
Am I right? A little bit rushed. So one of the fellow Flat Earth YouTubers called Roger Ledwell got in touch via the chat on the second channel yesterday during a premiere and was asking me why I didn't ship my mics internationally. I'm like, well, I've got a book to edit, so I can't occupy myself with mics currently, so I've stopped buying them at the end of January, and I've now got, I didn't say this because it was a different number then, but I've now got about 28 mics left, or 28 listings left on eBay, which is a handful considering I had about 100 listings at my peak when I was selling one mic a day, which I'm definitely not anymore. But I said to him, go and look at any of the mics on my eBay store, tell me which one you want, and I'll just ship it to you. And he had, like I say, a choice of best part of 30 microphones, and he picked some 1960s old Japanese mic. Now, it's all right, it's just not a great mic. So I've said, okay, fine, yeah, I'll ship that if you absolutely want it. It just had a cable that was broken, so I had to run around to grab the cable from Craig, who fixed it dutifully. Thank you very much, by the way, it worked perfectly. Test it, produced a little video saying, this is your mic working, because it wasn't. I tried it with two cables that I'd got, neither of them worked. They both caused horrendous distortion. So when I got the one back that was originally supplied with the mic that was fixed by Craig today, it meant that I could get it out in the post internationally before it was collected. That's to say that they collect about 1 o'clock, about the time we go live, or I start the show, I should say. And yeah, I managed to get it actually out in the post prior to that, and it hasn't been collected yet. I mean, it might be later this afternoon, but sometime after 1 p.m. they'll collect it and actually get it into the international shipping system. And then hopefully within a week or two, Roger Ledwell will receive that mic and a better microphone, a more modern condenser mic that I also had for sale. I'm like, I can't just send him this piece of crap. It's all right, but it's not a great mic. So I'm like, I've got great mics, like really good mics that I can send to him. And if he's going to go out of his way to buy an audio interface, I'm like, well, you should at least have one mic that you can just literally set and forget and have it sound good. So I've sent him a nice condenser microphone along with the one he picked, and hopefully they'll come out to him in the next week or two. So hope you like them, Roger, if you're out there listening. Thank you for all the super chats. You didn't need to send those. Like I say, I've sent out several microphones now, at least half a dozen, to various different YouTubers. Now, obviously, when I run out of mics, I won't be able to do that anymore. But yeah, I mean, there's mics still available on my eBay site, and if there's someone out there that's a fellow YouTuber that's like, actually, I really do want a new mic, yeah, let me know, and I'll potentially send you one out, and it won't cost you anything. I'll just send it to you, like I did with Roger and 007 and a few other people. Street Chronicles. There's a few that I've sent free microphones to. So yeah, there we go. That's what I've been doing. Say again.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, originally I was like telling everyone on the panel, if you've got a crap mic, no names mentioned, plenty of people had crap mics, let me know and I'll send you one. And, you know, some people who I wanted to give a good mic to didn't take me up on the offer, so I kind of forced the hand. I'm like, you're having one. And I sent them, got their addresses and sent them one. And yeah, so there were several people who got free mics out of me. and hopefully they're all working nicely and producing better sound, and everybody who's listening to them on YouTube's happier for it, which is all I really wanted. I mean, obviously, keeping the mortgage paid was a bonus. The only downside is as soon as you stop, the money stops coming in. So on Monday, I had my little text alert from Barclays saying, beep, 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 you're overdrawn. I was like, oh, it's been almost a year without getting that message. But no, eventually, all good things come to an end. But hopefully, in the next couple of weeks, the book will go out and be for sale, and that'll generate some revenue. Hopefully keep my mortgages paid. So yeah, that's something to look forward to.
Back up. Did you say next couple of weeks?
I would hope so, yeah. I'd hope in the next 10 days, 2 weeks, we'll get it finished. And then it's just a case of reading it. So I would expect in the next 2 weeks, I'll be sitting down with you guys going, right, we're going to spend the next 2 to 3 days just reading through the book in its entirety from start to finish. And my hope would be that there are no amendments needed. So there will be, I know there will be, that's why you do it. But you know what I mean? The idea being that you'll hear the final draft of the book, and then it'll get sent off to the publisher, and then it'll be available as an electronic copy, hopefully a week, a month, however long it takes later. There'll be a paperback and a hardback copy that you can physically purchase. So, you know, I would imagine that you'll be able to get it and read it in at least in the electronic form in the next 2 to 3 weeks. I mean, I don't know how long it'll take my publisher to actually... From the last conversation I had with him, he was like, immediately, you know, he'll read through it and then it'll be published. It'll be there, you can download it and you can pay for it. And he's got the facility for me to do the affiliate program already set up with other authors that he's got on his website already utilising that tool. So I remember when he told me 2 years ago, oh, I'm going to have an affiliate program with the ability to send a code to the list of people, like I've been saying I'm going to be contacting, or getting a third party to contact on my behalf to get me on their shows. And the publisher's given me the ability to have a one-time use, like, I don't know how it would work, a code or something like that, that you click on and then it downloads a single-use, you know, book for free. In other words, it's charged out at a penny or something for his books to keep a track of who he sent them to. But that will be so that somebody who's going to potentially have me on their show can have the book for nothing, can read through it, and then in the process of acquiring that book, there's obviously then a communication line for my publisher to get their bank information, so that the link that they publish below the video that I'm talking to them on will afford them the 30% that they get for anybody clicking on it and selling the book. In other words, they get their money immediately as soon as that's set up with my publisher. Now, at the time he told me, my publisher that is, that he hadn't done it, and then since then he's kept me updated and gone, you know, this author's also set that system up and has used it. Therefore, the affiliate program, which was new and unused when he first told me, is now in effect, and has been probably for a couple of years, successfully functioning, giving the author that, or whoever else is using it, I don't know, it was only one at the time that he told me, the ability to contact people, say, can you have me on your show? Here's a link to a free copy of my book so you can read it, and you just need to give me your bank information so that I can have payments go directly into your account the minute somebody clicks on that link and buys a copy of the book. So that's all pretty much done. So from that perspective, I can't see any reason why it wouldn't take minutes once I finally submit the whatever it is now, or whatever it is when it comes to it, 8th draft to him, for him to give his final approval, check over and make sure there's no egregious spelling errors or whatever. And even if there was, in the past when I got to close to this stage, he was of the opinion that it wouldn't matter about any minor errors because you can just mend them on the fly for the electronic copy. And you'd do that, in other words, you'd get it out in an electronic format. And then if somebody come back to you and went, oh, you're missing a full stop off this sentence, did you know? You'd be like, oh, no worries. And then I'd just tell him and he'd change it in the electronic form. And then after about a month, when there's, you know, any niggles ironed out with the book, you then send it off to have it produced in a more physical format, like a hard copy or a paperback. So yeah, that's the plan. It shouldn't be very long. I can't see why not. We finished off editing chapter 10 yesterday, and there's 13 chapters. I've told you last time you were in discussion with me about it, Neil, about the chapter with respect to the most recent housekeeping. Is there any evidence that Earth is measured anything other than flat? and explained that I'd be incorporating that into one of the first guests on Flat Earth UK, my chat show where I talked to people about how they came to the subject of Flat Earth. How did you find out Earth is flat? Being my question to every single guest that I had on that show, pretty much without exception. So one of the first... Go ahead.
How many people on that show asked or told you when you asked them that question that it's just measured that way?
None of them. But one of the examples was a lady named Robin Poe, and she'd worked out in Ferrari, Italy, linking up relays for the army. And they were designed by the book to be linked up 25 miles apart. And when there was a mountain between her and the closest relay, the book says, get a connection from that relay. That's the only instruction. And she couldn't. So she pointed her transceiver back to source 110 miles away and got a perfect signal. Now, what I've just done is detailed at least 2, probably 3 flat Earth prerequisite measurements to make this story so far. After that fact that we can now disseminate to the audience, that is to say, just to have this part of the story communicated to you thus far, you've had several flat Earth measurements incorporated into the story. The story, however, 10 years ago, 11, 12 years ago, however long it is, then went on to how the flat Earth distance at the flat Earth altitude didn't have any Earth curve in the way when she pointed it back to the point source, 110 miles, a horizontal linear distance measurement away, when she's up the mountain with her transceiver trying to get a source, trying to get a signal, right? So my exit from the book, if you like, one of the final chapters will be about that fact, sort of incorporating into the mind's eye of the reader the fact that back in the day, and probably true for almost everybody else who's in this arena currently, they will talk about things that unequivocally require Earth to be flat and whistle past them like it's acceptable. Now, we were editing chapter 10 yesterday, and anybody who was tuning in for the live stream actually got a video that I'd edited the night previous till about 3 or 4 in the morning. It took me a long time, exhausted me out, but it meant that my wife, at the only available opportunity yesterday, that day, would have been during the live stream. So I utilised her efforts to edit the book while we would typically be making a live video to edit the book. And while we were doing it, it was pointed out that chapter will ultimately serve as a round out to any reader that the flat Earth prerequisites get whistled past. Now, the video that was in place of the live stream had exactly that scenario pad out, where someone comes along and starts asking Neil questions about a perceived issue with one of the maps matching up with the position of the GP of a measured angle of the sun when facing south. And Neil's response was, I tuned out as soon as you started giving me flat Earth measurements. Now, the response was, oh, right, okay, well, those flat Earth measurements that I need, this is the person on the bull side talking to Neil, I'll take those as read. But moving on, how do you explain blah, 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 right? Now, after about the 4th attempt of Neil explaining to this guy, you've used flat Earth measurements. You know, are you now going to enter into a discussion where you're arguing how flat it can't be when you're using flat Earth prerequisites in your explanation, like Robin Poe did when she explained how far away, in distance, in miles, a transceiver was? Well, once you've measured the distance, then you've already got a flat Earth measurement. You can't then relinquish it because we're seeing too far, the transmitter's not being blocked by Earth curve. It's like, well, what are you talking about? You've measured it flat, you've got your altitude from sea level, you've got your distance in a horizontal linear fashion, capable of being mapped and having been surveyed and measured by people like Ordnance Survey to produce the distances on the scales, on the maps. So we've got lots of flat Earth prerequisites that must be used before we can say we see too far and that there isn't an Earth curve in the way. Like, who cares? I measured 110 miles, Earth's flat. There you go, end of discussion. What's that? At 110 miles, there should be... Whoa. You're going to use that flat Earth measurement there? You are? Then Earth's flat. Which way are you looking? South? Well, then you're looking in a preordained flat Earth directionality. It's levelled to the plane of reference. It is, ipso facto, two-dimensional. That's south. Now, you don't have to like that, but that is just flat Earth being measured and utilised with directionalities, altitudes, and distances. That's it. That's the end of the discussion. Now, you've got two choices, formerly what we used to call rock and hard place. You can either accept that you've got to use flat Earth measurements, in which case Earth's measured flat, that's the end of the discussion, or you can relinquish them. Now, this guy on the show that went out yesterday wanted both. No, let's take it as read that we will measure Earth flat for my perceived problem with a flat Earth. Get lost. No, you don't get to have it both ways. Either you sink to your knees and acknowledge how flat it is, in which case, why would we have any further discussions about how flat it isn't? Because if it isn't, you haven't got any measurements to tell me how far we're seeing things or what angle to the sun we're supposed to be getting but aren't. It's like you're measuring everything in your example flat, so it's flat. Now, I don't care if you accept that or not. I don't care if you expect me to whistle past how flat you require to measure it to then ask me about how curvy you perceive it to not be or be. Who cares? All of the measurements are functionally being utilised as we speak. Flat. That's it. That's the end of the discussion. We can only go on how the surveyors measured Earth. They measured it flat. Now, again, you can go to the sources and dig back in the references that they've got and say, here, in this Ordnance Survey description, there's a paragraph where they describe, you're like, whoa. Aren't they mapping and measuring Earth? Why are we going to a verbal description from some doo-doo works there? Well, because in the verbal description, it says that they've accounted for Earth curvature. No, I haven't got an example of this specifically. I'm just giving you a hypothetical. But if somebody says they incorporate Earth curve into a horizontal linear distance measurement, you go, okay, if that's good enough for you, have it. Okay, Ordnance Survey says they account for Earth curve. So that's good enough, is it? For you? Good. Now, I understand how a horizontal linear distance measurement acquired from a sea level for variations in topographical mapping is actually functional. That is to say, how it's used. No words need to be expressed when you use a map. But because somebody's put it into words on a website that they've incorporated curve, and then they've given you some complicated maths to show they've calculated into existence sphericity that doesn't exist on the scales of the maps or the measurements that produce them, then again, good for you. Have it. What's that? They say it's measured curvy. Okay, I mean, if they say that, then that's obviously good enough for you. For us, everybody here, and there are no exceptions around me currently, nobody will pipe up at the end of this statement, unless there's some random cognitively dissonant baller that's happening to join the panel while I'm in the middle of the sentence. But none of us, in any circumstances, will ever be able to walk away from the facts when it comes to how Earth is measured flat. They're facts. That's how it's measured. There's no ambiguity, there's no discourse, there's no debate, unless somebody comes along and potentially has been barked at by some bull-believing clown that they need to put a little disclaimer. While these measurements are horizontal and linear, while these measurements are from sea level, while we are taking perpendicularity from a 90 degree to that sea level, they account for curve. Okay? Good. For you. For us, we understand the contradiction when we see one. Having a verbalisation that defies the actual principle of the Earth measurements is irrelevant to us. You have survived on these morsels tossed out in English language, definitions, the Socratic method, when we're talking about measurements and maths, and actually acquiring horizontal, linear, distance measurements for the maps to acquire elevation profiles for the topographical logging of the terrain. That's what's been done. Earth's been measured for quite some time, and every single one was flat because the principles applied to the maps are flat. They are axiomatically in requirement of a flat Earth. There is no arguing about it. No amount of disclaiming after the fact that these axiomatic flat Earth principles curve will change how flat they are.
Crazy, innit? I mean, if you was dealing with curvature and measuring curvature, you would just measure the curvature.
Yep.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You wouldn't have to account for it. You just measure the bloody thing.
Yeah. No. Well, yes, we've got flat Earth measurements. Yes, we take the altitude from sea level, but sea level bends. Like, why don't you just give us a bendy measurement if you believe you've got one? Well, we, having been doing this for 12 years, have asked that question. Why we're asking people to provide curve evidence. If it existed, it would be abundantly clear and there'd be no need to ask for it. By contrast, that's actually the position that flat Earth is in. They just never even realised it. That's flat Earthers. Well, there's no need to defend anything. It's already being measured flat. You do have miles. They are horizontal and linear when applied to Earth's surface. That's just a fact. There's no need to defend it. Yeah? Now, we are in that position where I don't need to do anything anymore. And I don't care if you reject how flat it's measured. Good for you. What's that? Because you were told in your shitty school education paid for by the state that it wasn't flat. Well, why did they teach you it was in geography class then?
That's exactly what I was telling Adam earlier. I said, you don't even need to fight with these ballers. It's right there. Just look at the map.
Yeah. Things that are obvious and observable don't need any defence. I've been saying this for the last week. Flat Earth measurements do not need a defence council. Elevation angles, these angles on screen now. Right, the way you acquire a fix. That's to say you take 2 or 3 intersecting points till you narrow it down to one that you can be at locationally. Those don't need a defence council. They're just elevation angles. Elevation meaning from surface level, angle meaning 2 straight lines. They are what they are. Circles are 2-dimensional. How they're drawn and utilised doesn't need this. I don't need to verbalise with you what's on screen now. Celestial navigation is what it is. It was already being put to practical use. The systems have been expanded out into Cartesian grids used in GPS. That's how it works. Earth's utilising flat planes of reference. It's using flat distances. It's using flat angles. That's what it's using. I don't need to explain this to you. If you don't like it, that's the reality of it. The reason people have argued with this isn't because they want us to be right or wrong, it's because they can't cope. Therefore, they need to project their fears about this subject onto someone else so that they don't have to face it. And that's what we've dealt with for about 10 years. The guy yesterday, but in yesterday's show that I released, he's concerned. Why doesn't this match? I don't give a shit. Go and find out, you stupid dimwit. Why are you asking flat earthers in a Discord server? Go and ask the map makers, you stupid clown. Why are you asking us? Oh, right, because you can then lay the blame at our door like it's our responsibility to tell you. No. From this point on, it's, why are you asking me this? Get lost, you stupid dweeb. Go away. What's that? You got a question about maps? Go and ask map makers. You got a question about the terrain? Then go and ask the Ordnance Survey. You got a question about navigation? Go and ask somebody on a boat. That's what you need to do. We just recognised our flat Earth was being dealt with. Doesn't mean we're responsible for giving anybody any answers to any questions. I mean, that's not our responsibility. You know, knowing how Picasso painted doesn't mean you're suddenly going to have to explain why he painted it in the way he did. Why is it flat? I don't care. That's how they map it. They, not me. But you, because I verbalised it, now want to attribute that to me. Make it my responsibility. Piss off, you stupid snot-faced dweebs. You're not owed anything from me or anybody around us. So the fact that you've got the gall to come and demand answers from us is worthy of a slap. That's all you get. Go up to random people asking them questions because they understand implicitly how something's done. Doesn't mean it becomes their responsibility to tell you about it. Now, you only ask because you've got concerns. What does that mean? It means you're concerned about it. Me, I'm not concerned about how flat Earth is anymore. I know it's flat. That's how it's measured. I have a very limited concern for it. You projecting that concern on me is going to be met with the highest degree of disdain and vitriol that I can fucking muster. That's what it'll be. Me hypothetically describing punching your fucking teeth out when you come and demand answers from me because I'm a flat earther? Yeah, I am. Doesn't mean I owe you a fucking thing. Maybe a punch in the face. That's what you're owed. You think I need to answer your questions? Fuck off. You're all pathetic. Most of the people surrounding us currently are dweebs. Geeky little twats that I wouldn't want to associate with. Just because I've got a bar with an open door and your dweeb can stroll in. Yeah, that guy that was hanging around Alpha Murray, he's been hanging around for a long time, sitting in the corner, keeping himself to himself. No problems. Until he fails miserably to understand how fucking compass works. And then he feels that he's got the opportunity to yak through me and accuse me of having a homosexual affair with Neil. That's what he did. Bang! Get a fucking punch if he was in front of me. And that level of vitriol, it's hypothetical. He's not really here, but I will describe how I'd smash his fucking head into the curb and jump on it. That's what I will do. Because that's the sentiment that I have my feelings towards you. Why would you feel so aggressive towards these people, mate? Because they've told me that I should have my balls cut off. And on multiple occasions, people have reported me to social services, suggesting that my kids should be taken away. So why do I feel like when they come and start asking me questions, what the same people that are reporting me to the police? Mr. Sensible's still got a video published where he's bragging about going to the real men to deal with his concerns about Flat Earth. That's what he did, report me to the police. These people are pathetic little dweebs, fractions of men, not real men. And I'm going to start pointing that out to them like I pointed it out to Alpha Murray. You pathetic, under-the-thumb little cuck. You think you're owed answers from us? Fuck off, you pathetic group of dweebs. Your concerns are now just that. Yours. We, flat earthers who actually understand and appreciate how flat earth is measured, don't care anymore about you and your concerns. It is not incumbent on me to convince you of that which you are concerned of. I'm not concerned about it anymore, and if you feel you've got the right to start demanding answers from me, you'll get a fucking broken nose, metaphorically speaking, just so you know going forward.
Well, you know who else? Hold
Sorry,
on. You know who else is asking questions and demanding answers? Now, here's a person I've never had any conversation with other than in chat. I get a message at 4:00 in the morning from a Professor Phil Bell.
So,
Now-
Phil Bell, it sounds to me like you're harassing somebody at 4:00 in the morning. Can you supply Neil with your address, please, Professor Phil, so that Neil can report you to the police for antisocial behaviour? Because what you are literally doing is contacting him in the middle of the night. That's very antisocial. It's creepy as well. Creepy as fuck. So what I'd like is the ability to report these people for their antisocial behaviour. These disgusting fractions of men, these dweebs, who feel that they're entitled to demand anything from us. That's even a conversation, even a hello. Now, you're not worthy of any of those things. And moving forward, we'll start requiring you to provide contact information so we can report your crimes. In this case, harassment. So Professor Phil contacted you in the middle of the night. I think you should be reported for harassment. So we're going to need Professor Phil's address so we can report him for harassment. You don't get to contact people in the middle of the night at 4 a.m. That's utterly disgusting and very antisocial. And there are laws against it. So, moving forward, that's what we'll require from these cowards. Now, one of these cowards, the same coward, Alpha Murray, said this to me. If I had your address. So I gave it him. What happened? Did he come round? No. Did he have anything to report me on? No. No, then I asked him if he'd give me his in return. Why would I want it? So I can report any crimes that he might commit. This creepy guy that we kept telling to go away, saying, we don't like you, we don't want to be around you, giving me examples how metaphorically he'd have his head kicked in if he was in front of us. And he still hung around. In fact, what he said was, quote, "You're my favourites," end quote. Yeah, this is the pedestal that I described that people put us on when they want to make us the arbiters of their concerns. So they can knock us off a pedestal that they've put them on and make themselves feel like they're right when they prove us wrong. Having wasted a lot of our time, called us names, insulted us, reported us to the police for crimes we haven't committed, suggested that we should jump off tall buildings to prove their beliefs in bent space-time gravity. Yeah, that's what we get, told to jump off buildings, suggested that our balls should be cut off, told that we're not worthy of the air we're breathing. Yeah? Now, metaphorically, bang! These people would have their fucking heads kicked in. That's what they'd get if they did this in person. Justifiably so. I gave a guy the example of a black guy in a group of black men who was approached by some equivalent spotty dweeb YouTuber. And he says to this guy, "Can I have a kiss?" And the guy says, "Come again?" This big burly black guy, "Just can I have a kiss?" The inference being that this big burly black guy is a homosexual willing to kiss this little white dweeb. She says, come in close. Bang! And he breaks his fucking jaw on the spot. That's what happens. That's what happens. That's what society does to you dweebs. That's a fact. Now, I'm not going to really beat the living piss out of any of these little fucking dweebs, but what I will want is an ability to actually report their crimes to the police moving forward. That's what they are, crimes. Yeah? Now, I'm being accused of crimes. I get constantly accused of beating my kids, something I do not do. But you guys get away with it because you're hiding your pathetic little fraction of a man ability to have a fake name here online with 1 million miles of fibre between you and I. Now, when it came to that guy, Alpha Murray, giving up his address after he'd specifically asked me for mine and got it, he wouldn't do it. And I pointed out to this pathetic little cuck that he's living in fear. Fear of retribution and consequences of the actions that he's taking when he's accusing men of being homosexuals. Online with his brave pills. Yeah? Now, I'll just give you a dose of reality. Yeah? You people aren't liked. You know you're the outcasts of society. You know how you've been treated throughout your lifetime, and you know that you can get away with putting on a little mask, taking some brave pills, when you've got a fake screen name and 1 million miles of fibre between you and the person you're harassing. In this case, contacting at 4 a.m, utterly disgusting, criminal, antisocial behaviour that these people do to us. Now I'm saying, fuck this. I'm sick of it. Why have we had to endure this shit? Why does society accept that these people suggest that we should jump off tall buildings? Oh, because they're talking about their religious rhetoric of a gravity and telling us that we need to jump off a building to prove it? These people should be locked up. They're making criminal threats. These people are behaving in an antisocial manner, contacting people in the middle of the night. People are contacting social services to suggest that a good father should have his kids taken away from him. These people are criminals. Why? Because they've got concerns about the angle off a flat earth to the sun. Because they've got concerns about a distance in a flat earth linear fashion that is suggested by their maths to have an earth curve that isn't there. So they harass us, harangue us, and act like criminals around us, simply because they've got the means to do it without consequence on the internet. So, I'm going to start bringing it right back home. Now, I believe that what you're doing is criminal, Phil, contacting people in the middle of the night. That's downright harassment. Why would you get away with it? It's antisocial behaviour. So, let's have it. Let's report Phil, Professor Phil. So you're a professor and you're contacting another man in the middle of the night. No, I think you should be locked up. That's what I think should happen to you. I think you should have your balls removed and your kids taken away from you. Maybe some fines and locked up in jail. That's what I think, Phil.
Yeah, and it's all because he's got the nerve to say, why am I parroting the nonsense that latitude was created by taking elevation angles to Polaris? That's why he contacted me at 4 o'clock in the morning, because he must have heard a video where we were talking about it. And
so he's a complete dweeb. He thinks he's got the right to contact you in the morning, in the middle of the night, because he's got a question about fucking angles to a star? Really? Well, no, you're just a dweeb. You're a complete dweeb. Yeah? And you don't deserve to be in anybody's company. You do deserve to be locked up and investigated for your antisocial behaviour. Your requirement to square a circle that is about elevation angles, that's flat earth prerequisite measurements, like this. This on screen is an elevation angle measurement. That's what you'd acquire a latitude from Polaris with. That's how it's done. Now, it is, regardless of which star you're measuring flat, a flat earth prerequisite. It just doesn't need us to defend it. Now, I'm going to ask Neil, because this criminally antisocial wanker named Professor Phil has contacted you about this on screen. Did you create this diagram on screen?
No, I haven't created that.
Do you have any influence whatsoever on the latitude system or on elevation angle measurement from a flat earth?
No, I do not.
I think we need Phil's address. Not only is he barking up the wrong fucking tree, he's an antisocial dweeb. He needs locking up. So yeah, I'd like to get Phil's address so we can report him to the correct authorities for his harassment of a man who's absolutely inconsequential to the questions being asked at 4 a.m. from a dweeb who's concerned that his religion's wrong. What a scumbag. Yeah, well, we're just going to start pointing out how disgusting these people behave from here on forth. Because I don't need to defend the flat Earth angle. This angle is what it is. It's an elevation angle from surface level. That's just from a book that we didn't produce and have no bearing on or authority over. We don't control how Earth gets measured with angles. But these pathetic dweeb fucks think they've got the right to contact us at 4 in the fucking morning? No, Phil, you don't have that right. But you do have the right to be reported to the proper authorities for your disgusting antisocial criminal behaviour.
Well, it's telling.
Nate.
Oh, go ahead,
Sorry,
one
John.
day.
Really quicker. He didn't really have to phone Neil up. I've just done a quick search. It does say latitude and solar elevation angle are directly related. At the sun's maximum height in the sky at solar noon depends on the observer's latitude. Yeah, and it varies depending on where you are. When you're closer to the equator, you experience higher maximum elevation angles, while latitudes experience lower angles. So it tells you can just do a quick search, and it just tells you in a quick search that yes, latitude is an elevation angle measurement.
I see. And are you responsible for that one, Deck? Did you come up with that system of measuring Earth flat with angles like the ones on screen now?
No, I had nothing to do with that, Nathan. I thought it was you, actually.
You thought it was me? Did you think it was Nathan Oakley's elevation angles? No, they're not. Right, I have absolutely no responsibility for how flat Earth got measured with these angles. Yeah, it's not my responsibility to explain them or justify them. They are what they are. If there was no verbal explanation or definition of what an elevation angle is, it wouldn't change how it's measured with respect to the flat planar surface that you're acquiring part of the angle from. It just means Earth is flat. But this angle doesn't need a defence counsel. Now, I appreciate that there's people out there concerned with how non-ball-shaped this angle measurement is, but it's not our fucking responsibility to sustain this concern from dweebs. This isn't our problem. It's your problem. You don't like how flat Earth is measured. Go and appeal to the people who produce the maps. Go and appeal to the people who produce elevation angle measurements. Go and appeal to the people who level their tools to a planar surface. Go and appeal to the people who produce the horizontal orientated compasses that we use on the flat maps with the flat linear distances on the flat linear scales. Go and appeal to them, because I am absolutely sick of these fucking dweebs. And that's all they are. Phil is an unfuckable Gollum dweeb who thinks he's got the right to contact other men in the middle of the fucking night. No, you unfuckable Gollum dweeb. You don't have any right to do that. In fact, I think you should be punished for it. Sincerely.
It's the telltale heart, Nathan. Professor Phil Bellin is intimately aware that apogee, perigee, all the elements, orbital mechanics of Keplerian elements, all of those things are with respect to a plane of reference. Phil knows that as a fact. It's tearing him apart inside. That's why he's contacting him at 4 a.m.
I mean, I get it, and I appreciate that within the context of the former debate that we were having, it seems relevant to justify his actions and explain why he's in pain and therefore needs to contact a random man in the middle of the night. No, he's just a fucking dweeb, yeah? He's somebody that I wouldn't want to be associated with, I wouldn't want to be around, yeah? I wouldn't want to be seen with, based on how unfuckable the man's face is. Yeah, so therefore, why would I want to have any conversation ever with any of these people? All of them are fundamentally unlikable. None of them are cool. What are they talking about? Why is he contacting for in the middle of the night again? To talk about angle measurement? What a wanker. What an unbelievable... Just dweeb. Dweeb. Nobody wants to talk with you about fucking angles in the middle of the night. You complete clown. But in your mind, you're justified in contacting a man in the middle of the night about angle measurements you're not even making, and neither is he. Kind of a crackpot are you? You're not. You're just a fucking dweeb. And you damn well know it, you boring twat. Talk about angles. How many people on God's green earth do you think would give you the time of day at any point in the day to talk about boring ass fucking angles. Yeah, hardly anybody is the answer, but you think you can demand that time of another man in the middle of the night? Dweeb, get a grip!
Well, if he is what he claims to be, then he's supposedly controlling, I'm putting quotations around it, satellites, right? That's if he is who he claims to be, which I don't know if that's true.
Well, he claims this made-up history was manufactured by flat earthers. Hipparchus created longitude and latitude in 160 BC in order to create a grid system on a globe to pinpoint exact locations on the surface of the Earth. At the time he created this system, Polaris was not the pole star. In fact, the pole star was Beta Ursae Minoris.
Right, just gonna say it again. Sorry, he's talking about history of elevation angle measurements at 4 a.m. You fucking boring dweeb. Yeah? That's all there is to this. This is boring. You boring twat. Nobody gives a fuck what you've got to say about the history of measuring flat earth elevation angles to project them from within a ball. No one gives a shit. Yeah, but you think you've got the right to contact a man about it at 4 a.m. to talk about this boring historical shit. How dare you, you stupid old cunt!
Yeah, they still measured Earth flat.
Yeah, we had the diagram up on screen a minute ago with polar axis being demonstrably demonstrated in the books that utilise celestial navigation principles to explain it to people. You can go and buy a book on it! What are you doing? You're going and buy a book like Tenth Man did? No, you're contacting Neil. Yeah? That's what you're doing at 4 a.m. You fucking disgusting, pathetic dweeb. I despise you, Phil.
Did he mention a grid system then, by the way, for latitude?
Yes, he did. He said it was a grid system on a globe. That's incorrect.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, his main thing is you got to use spherical geometry, and celestial navigation is impossible on a flat Earth.
Yeah. These people don't want to come at the allotted time where we've got a door open them for them to come in and talk about their views on the nature of Earth, what being a spherical angle that's acquired to these. No, they're not spherical. The surface isn't curving when you take an angle from the surface. It's flat. It has to be. It's a prerequisite. But of course, if Phil was here, he'd have the sharp end of my tongue in person, wouldn't he? So what's he doing? No, he's contacting a man at 4 a.m. instead, being very antisocial, with his need to tell another man who hasn't asked him about the history of fucking angles. You pathetic, entitled dweeb.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Neil,
That's what I said. I'm not contacting him because I don't know what the man says. He's out of my radar. Actually, they're all out of my radar because I know how Earth is measured. So I could care less about them, but they care.
What radar? Like this on screen now? This flat system giving horizontal linear distance measurements based on a two-dimensional sweep of the surface. That sort of radar.
Yeah, he's off my radar.
We've spoke about this. It's psychological, this. You know, the way they're behaving is I can't put a word to it, but we have discussed this and we're going to look into it. It's definitely some sort of biological reaction to their belief system being challenged, or realizing that what they once believed is no longer true. Well, it's never been true, but realizing that Earth is measured flat and not being able to sort of, accept that at the moment, they're having cognitive dissonance much.
What I think,
you know what I mean?
One deck. What I think happened is he caught that video that Nathan put out with the Alpha Murphy 72. And he decided that he wanted to contact me. Now, if you look, I put it in Master B. You'll see at the bottom, wave to Phil. That means I have no contact with him. I haven't waved to him. I haven't befriended him. So he heard something that bothered him, and he decided, well, I'm going to contact him at 4:00 in the morning when he knows what time the show starts. He can come right through the door, like Nathan said.
Yeah, and what would he get? He'd get highlighted that he's an entitled dweeb. Those are the words you were looking for, One Deck. An entitled dweeb. He thinks he's got a perfect justification to contact a random man he doesn't know, who doesn't like him, who has no contact with him, and tell him about the history of angle measurements at 4 a.m. What a fucking dweeb.
Did you say history of angle measurements?
Yeah, that's what
dear.
that's what he was going through, the history of angle measurements with you.
But
Yeah, it's
he
a
should
lovely
prove it a
red
flat
herring.
Earth. Go ahead, Fracted.
No, I was just saying it's a lovely red herring to go off about on with Neil at 4:00 in the morning. Bell knows that's not the point. That's why he wants to take him down the red herring route of talking about calculation or history or whatever. As long as it ain't the measurement, he's fine.
Well, like this measurement on screen from a book that we didn't publish, that we didn't produce the systems to create the diagrammatical example of. This sort of elevation angle from a flat plane kind of diagram. You go and find the author of this book and hassle them. See this? When he says it's projected onto a sphere, no, it isn't. From within a sphere, you take the angle that's marked on this with a picture of a star and labelled latitude. What's that? Latitude doesn't come from Polaris, a star. All right, why is it in all the books? Oh, now we're engaged with this fucking dweeb, aren't we? We didn't ask for this, yeah? No, I'd sooner break Phil's fucking nose than engage with him about this diagrammatical example that shows unequivocally how latitude is measured with respect to a plane with the star known as Polaris to create this system around a ball from a flat plane. Now, he thinks that the system that the measurement came from is the ball? No, clearly not. This is how the diagram's presented. It's not our diagram, you fucking dweeb. This is not my responsibility, you stupid entitled spastic.
He knows that, though. That's what I'm saying. I'm talking about the psychology of this individual. He's aware that you use a plane of reference. He knows that. He just really doesn't. It's eating at him inside.
Yeah, because he moves the satellites around. He knows.
Yeah, don't do this anymore, Phil.
everybody knows.
I'm being dead serious now. As much as the over-egging of the pudding of vitriol is obviously going to be the order of the day moving forward, I am talking seriously, right? If you continue to harass people, Phil, I'm going to go out of my way to find out who the fuck you are, where you are, and report you to the police for harassment, for antisocial behaviour. Because that's what you're engaging in, you fucking dweeb. So mark my words, if you continue to do what you're doing, that's harassing other men because you're concerned about how flat Earth gets measured. I'm going to say from this point forth, any of you fucking dweebs who do this, you're going to find there's consequences. Yeah? We'll find out who the fuck you are and we'll report you to the authorities for your illegal behaviour. Because it's no longer tolerable. It's no longer reasonable. You've pushed me over that edge. That edge that you said I should be jumping off to prove your gravity. Yeah, I've had enough of it. What you are doing is downright disgraceful, and it's not sociably acceptable. That's why I'm describing by metaphor you having your teeth knocked out. That's what would happen if you did this anywhere other than online. But there are laws that are slowly being ushered in to stop you people doing this. It's not societally acceptable, and society is now online. Therefore, the police are getting involved with people like you when they behave in an antisocial manner online. So that's what's going to happen moving forward. I'm going to start asking for names so we can report you to the authorities when you feel entitled to answers because we're flat earthers. Therefore, it doesn't matter if you're contacting us at 4 a.m. It doesn't matter if you're accusing us of being homosexuals. It doesn't matter if you're suggesting that we're committing crimes that we aren't. No, it's not acceptable. It's absolutely outrageous, in fact. And we've suffered it for 10 years. I don't know why nobody stepped in to do anything about it. Well, I'm going to start doing something about it. I've had enough of it. I've had enough with these fucking dweebs. And they're going to start getting put back in their place. They've risen a little bit above the parapet, a little bit too high than they were justified to be. Now I'm going to smack them back down again. Let them know exactly what they are. Pathetic, fear-ridden dweebs. That's all you are. You are only contacting Neil because you are scared that your religion's going to go away. That's it. That's the only reason. If I can give Neil a history of angles, then Earth will be a ball. No one gives a fuck about you. Nobody asked you to be contacting them. Nobody asked you to be involved in their life. But here you are, proactively contacting Neil. You fucking scum. You should be locked up.
Oh, Nathan, we got a live one in the chat. Neil just doesn't know how to turn off notifications. People live in different time zones. This guy's name is @CurveNerd. So he's a curve nerd. Anyone here play games that involve curved objects? Must be difficult to plan angle shots. A straight line can be used to describe that angle. Yep. Does it make your objects flat? We got a live one. What's your name?
Well,
Just going back to
there's nowhere in America where Bell is from that it is acceptable to contact someone after midnight if you don't know them. That is not acceptable socially in any way. So
no, there are laws against it here in the UK. I don't know about in the States. There's a law against it. Absolutely. Contacting people in antisocial manner. That is a law that he's breaking here. I don't know if that's true for the guy that's online now. He's not the same standard, Neil. So this guy who's saying, well, I can measure what angles and apply them to a curve. You can. But like with this demonstration on screen, that you need to hold true to believe in that curve that you're asserting, you need surface level to be measurable. You need it to remain flat and not curve, or eye level won't be parallel with it, so you can calculate a dip angle measurement. So all of the principles that we're describing in terms of how flat Earth is required to be are right here on screen for your pathetic, state-educated bald-face. Here it is on screen. Now, you can do two things. You can say, no, I do not accept that we can measure surface level for height. Or, I do not accept surface level is flat to remain parallel with eye level. You can deny these things, you fucking dweeb. But then you haven't got any earth curve maths to believe in, you stupid clown. What's that? You do accept that you can measure horizontality from surface level. Yeah, we do. You do. It is measured flat from surface level. That's to say, for your dumbass, stupid dweeb ball faith, you unequivocally require that we can and do measure surface level. So what's that? Surface level bends, does it? Fuck off, you stupid, pathetic dweeb. You'd get punched in the face for being an irritating dumbass. That's what you get. By metaphor, obviously I'm a lover, I wouldn't really belt this little twat for denying one of the principles he relies on in his own fucking maths. I wouldn't really, I'm an embracer of love. Yeah? Just by metaphor, it has his fucking teeth knocked out by now. For denying something he absolutely requires. It's right there on screen, you stupid fucking dweeb. Are you going to tell me surface level's not level? It bends? No, you fucking clown. Your maths relies on measuring Earth flat, you stupid dickhead. Why are you here? To tell us that we're wrong? If you're right, go in peace knowing how right you are, but you're not. You're here telling flat earthers that they're wrong about surface level. We're not measuring surface level. This isn't my Earth curve maths. I didn't create it. I didn't label it with surface level or have the axiomatic requirement for a flat Earth to be in there. It's there regardless of us being here. Earth's measured flat. It doesn't need a defence council. Now, in this instance specifically, Earth being measured flat is required for your dumbass dweeb Earth curve.
Well, he gives some examples, and every example he gave required a flat surface. He brings up billiards, pool, bowling, tennis. They all take place on a flat surface, my friend.
These people are idiots. Yeah, and I'm sick of having the ascribed flat Earth prerequisites and measurements put on my doorstep. I'm sick of it. Now, it's all well and good when we were saying, your claim of having a distance to a geometric horizon limiting our view is wrong. Because then we're the aggressors, aren't we? Telling people that their religious faith is incorrect. We're not doing that anymore here. Therefore, I feel absolutely justified in my complete vitriol aimed at these fucking retards who feel that they can tell us that it's not flat. It's flat in your own stupid maths. So if you want to tell me that I'm wrong, what about your maths? I didn't come up with Earth curve calculations. I certainly didn't label surface level. I didn't insist that there was an axiomatic requirement for it to be parallel with eye level. I didn't say that height's got to be measured from sea level. I didn't do any of these things. They're just facts that you rely upon to believe you can derive curve from these flat measurements in your maths.
Well, they keep see, but that guy Alpha Murphy, he did the same thing the other day. He wanted to bypass all the flat Earth prerequisites and get to the point of, well, the sun's in a different GP. That's what this guy's doing. He's swinging a bat and hitting the ball in midair. Okay, where are you standing, you dumbass? On a field, on a flat field. Same thing with a soccer ball you're kicking. You're standing on a flat field. They want to bypass anything to do with flat just to get into their supposed point that they do not have.
Yep, that's what they do. They want to talk about the ins and outs of a theodolite, dip correction, skipping past the angle. They've always done it. Skip past the angle, start talking a lot of crap.
Well, if you start the argument that they're trying to make where it actually begins, you don't have an argument to make.
Yes. The problem here is that they want to whistle past, as they've done for 10 years, all of the flat Earth prerequisites they need. And when we go, hold on, you need this to be flat. If it's not flat, then don't use it. Don't tell us that you want to use the flat directionality or the flat linear distance measurement or the flat altitude or the flat elevation angle and then ask us how flat it isn't. That's ludicrous. We're absolutely sick of it. Furthermore, now we've recognised it, we've also recognised how little responsibility we have for it. We didn't invent these systems. Now, they are flat, that's how they're used. Us pointing it out doesn't mean that we suddenly have responsibility for them. Now, the people who do have responsibility for producing Cartesian grids, flat Earth elevation angle measurements, a star system that's based on a sea level being measured for the angles, sea level itself and its measurement, all of the parallel eye levels used to derive and infer radial values of circles of equal elevations that then get calculated into sphericity on ours. Now, the fact that you need them to be flat is the reason we're absolutely despising you currently. Because every single time you tell us that it's not flat, we say, well, why are you using all these flat measurements? And we get things like, okay, well, let's take it as read that we're measuring Earth flat with this. But why do you expect? It's like, fuck off! Do you want to get your teeth knocked out? Are you going to tell me that you accept how flat I'm not doing a damn thing, measure Earth? I'm not measuring it! But you're the one here barking up this tree like I've got to give you some answers. No, I don't owe you anything. And the more you demand that I owe you stuff, the more I'm going to metaphorically smack a few teeth out. That's what I'll be doing from now on. Letting the public know how to treat you. Yeah? That is to say, you scumbags don't deserve anybody's time. And by about the 5th time we've told you, go away. And you're not, then it's reasonable because suddenly it's threatening. This guy asked what I'll do if I have your address. That's threatening. That's this guy literally not saying, I want your address so I can report your criminal activity to the police. It's saying, if I had your address, what? You'd come around and beat me up? Yeah, it's one thing to make a metaphor of having someone's teeth knocked out online where I can't, and another to ask me for my address in a threatening manner after you've been told to go away. In this instance, Phil's not anybody's friend. Nobody's asking Phil to be in touch with him, are they? He's just taken it upon himself in an antisocial way. Now, that is criminal. And I'm saying I'm sick of it. You don't, not only are you not owed any answers, you are owed a knock on the door from the police. The same knock that I seem to get for not doing a damn thing wrong, for talking about how flat Earth is. Yeah, for those things, you guys out there, you entitled fucking dweebs, think that you've got the right to suggest my kids should be taken away. And I'm utterly sick of it. Accusing me of crimes I've not committed. Meanwhile, you behave in a criminal manner and an antisocial behaviour way and get away with it. Why? Oh, because you've got a flat earth need and you don't like it when we point that out. Now we're pointing it out to a general audience at a general time in the middle of the day, not at 4 a.m, you entitled fucking dweeb.
I mean, it is sad. I mean, a grown man, 4 o'clock in the morning, stressing over latitude measurements, trying to find a way out of how them flat earth measurements could be possibly curved, keeping himself awake at night over this. I mean, it's a sad state of affairs, isn't it, really?
Spherical geometry, man.
Just downright creepy. Have you asked him about spherical geometry? Have you asked Phil anything about anything, Neil?
I've never even talked to Phil other than in chat. I don't
Who
even
the
know how
fuck do you think you are, Phil? You're a criminal. Let's be absolutely clear about this. You're a stalker. It's gone too far, Phil. Yeah? Now we need to report your criminal activities. That's what we need to do. Put you in front of the authorities that need to punish you for your disgusting behaviour. That's what we need to do moving forward. Point out to these people what they're doing and who they are and how they're behaving. Now, it's not going to be the case moving forward that I'm just going to accept that as a flat earther, it's socially acceptable to persecute me. Can fuck right off. Yeah, you're going to have the backlash. You'll have the people sent round, the men that you appeal to when you can't be one yourself. Those authorities that you're weaponising illegitimately. Yeah, well, they'll be sent around. The tables have turned. I'm sick of being treated like something I'm not from scumbag dweebs. I'm utterly tired of it. Why the hell should we have to endure this behaviour? It's not socially acceptable to go around to tell somebody else that they should jump off a building to prove your faith in a pseudo-geometry. That is utterly disgusting. If I have another person tell me, you need to jump off a fucking building to prove my faith in pseudo-geometry, then it's just reached the point where these people need to have a dose of reality. When you go around threatening people, telling them that they should be jumping off buildings to prove religious beliefs, that's the point where you've gone too far. When you're starting to report people to social services when you've never even met their kids, you have no interaction with them whatsoever. You've heard a sound on a video, therefore you think I should have my kids taken off me. Yeah, it's utterly disgusting and criminal. And I'm sick of it. After 12 fucking years, I've had enough. Now I'm going to start actually doing something about it when these scumbags feel entitled to our time. They feel entitled to answers from us. You're not! You're going to get that through your thick skulls. I'm going to make it abundantly clear. And there's going to start being some fucking consequences. I'll start appealing to the society and asking them, is it reasonable that this person's told me to jump off a building? Is that reasonable? Yeah? Is it reasonable that this person has told me that my kids should be taken away because I've described how mapping functions? You got one guy who's got the mapping channel, thinks his own fart-sniffing information's boring, asking his audience if they're keeping awake. I say the same thing and I have social services called. What kind of fucking world do we live in?
Yeah, actually, this started the night before. He contacted me at 11:59 p.m. to ask me, what do you suppose the engineers at Garmin or TomTom will say if you ask them where their satellites are located and how do they move? Why would I contact Garmin or TomTom? Why are you contacting me and asking me these questions?
Asking what a manufacturer of satellite navigation systems for cars would say to a random stranger at almost midnight and at 4 a.m. You need locking up. You fucking dweeb. Go and ask them. Why are you asking Neil what Garmin would say? You stupid dweeb. How many people, if you were in a bar, if you went up to them and started asking them about what Garmin would say about this, nobody would be interested. You're just boring. But you've taken your criminal, boring nature and have started doing things that are not reasonable and not socially acceptable. That's what you're doing.
Yeah, it's ridiculous too, because the people at Garmin will give you an elevation of the satellite, elevation.
But
So I don't know what he's
we're
on
not
about.
responsible for this. I don't have to explain what, hypothetically, a manufacturer might say at 4 a.m. What? Why are you asking me what a manufacturer would say? Do you think I give a shit, you stupid dweeb? Yeah? You're basically encroaching on people's lives because you are in fear. Fear for your religious belief being taken away from you. Fear that you've been wrong all this time, that you've been online talking shit incorrectly. Nobody gives a shit. Nobody's proactively contacting this guy. Nobody cares. We don't care about how Earth gets measured anymore. We know it's flat. We've moved on. The fact that we're telling an audience how flat it is by way of demonstrations we didn't produce doesn't mean that we're now responsible for them. This guy's even labelled who he needs to be contacting. Contact Garmin! Phil, you stupid fucking clown. Not Neil, you dumb fuck. You want to know what Garmin's got to say about it? Go and fucking ask them. Do you think they tolerate being asked at 4 in the fucking morning? Do you think you should contact one of the Garmin employees at 4 in the morning? You know what they'd do? They'd call the police. This man's contacting me at 4 in the morning asking about elevation angles. Yeah? You think Garmin would put up with that shit? No, but because Neil's a flat earther, it's acceptable. No, it fucking isn't.
See, Nathan, the thing is, they think that there's still a debate. So we've pulled so far away that they're trying to pull us back in. So back in the day, even then, it's not reasonable to contact somebody at 4 a.m. or at midnight. But they think there's still an argument and they want us in a debate.
Contact Garmin, Phil. It's not us requesting that you contact Garmin. It's saying that if you've got a question about what Garmin do, get in touch with them. Now, when they give you an answer, keep that to your fucking self. I don't give a fuck what Garmin have got to say. If I did, I'd contact them. No, you want to contact Garmin, but you don't. You want to ask Neil at 4 in the morning what he thinks they might say, hypothetically, about your fucking boring angles, you stupid dweeb.
Speaking for the nerds, though, I did actually look up the GPS quote satellites that they claim to have, and they give their height and position with respect to elevation and latitude, Phil, just so you won't be able to sleep it again tonight. You're going to need a flat earth for that as well.
Oh, that's interesting. When you say their altitude, what's the altitude measured from?
Well, there's one as well, Nathan. Here's one. What do Garmin devices use sea level pressure as a reference point to calibrate their biometric altimeters for accurate altitude readings?
So we'll need a sea level then. So because we understand implicitly, because we're talking about how this creepy fucking dweeb's got in touch with another one of the panel at 4 in the morning, we can calmly discuss, say calmly, I'm a furious man currently with these scumbags that deal with us. But meanwhile, we can calmly discuss how they have a requirement for perpendicularity to a plane of reference to describe altitude from a measured flat reference called sea level. Yeah, Earth's measured flat for every single thing that Garmin will do when they're expressing the heights of their satellites from sea level, won't they? Why are we having to go through this? Oh yeah, because a creepy fucking stalker dweeb criminal contacted a member of the panel at 4 in the morning. That's why we're discussing it. Does that seem reasonable? No. Now, if it was just part of the conversation, it'd just come up. Well, I wonder how Garmin use their satellites. Oh, well, they get their measured altitude using barometric pressure from sea level. Really? So there's a perpendicularity in terms of the altitude measurement that's described with a number in feet. And there's also a prerequisite flat Earth sea level to measure it from. All right, so we're definitely measuring Earth flat for these things then, unequivocally. We're utilising angles for trilateration from them. Yeah, we are. All right, so we're definitely measuring Earth flat in at least 3 different ways when we use satellites to track our positional data. Yes, Earth's measured flat for GPS. That's correct. How's it plotted? On a Cartesian grid.
Yep. And I wasn't saying that for any other reason than to just keep Phil up tonight as well. So, Phil, go ahead and swallow that. Contact somebody else at 4 a.m.
Maybe Garmin? Because I would expect that they wouldn't give the tiniest of shits what this pathetic Greek has got to say about it, or his questions. I'm pretty sure that if they were being contacted personally at 4 a.m, they'd have the police around to Phil's pretty sharpish. Because that's harassment. It's shocking, because it's the exact harassment that Neil's having to suffer from this man, this dweeb, who feels it's pertinent to ask another man about angle measurements and how a manufacturer would apply them at 4 a.m. Disgraceful. But with that, I'm going to say if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley premiering streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Well, that was fun.
Like you said, they want to keep the argument going. They've got to keep the argument going. And I found a thing here. It says people frequently argue about beliefs because their views are deeply intertwined with their self-identity, emotional safety, and social belonging. Defending beliefs is a form of self-validation, often driven by cognitive biases like confirmation bias or a desire for control. And that's what they're doing, isn't it? This is exactly what's going on.
Couldn't have put it better myself. Yeah, it's an internal fear they're rebelling against. They need to affirm their bias once more. And if somebody stands in the way of their bias being affirmed, they'll challenge that. It's like, why? Don't shoot the messenger, man. Certainly don't call him at 4 a.m, because you'll have the police round.
Neil, you didn't text him back, did you?
What was that one, Deck?
You didn't respond to him at 4 a.m, did you?
No, I'm like, what the frick is this guy? Who? I've never. And I put it in Master B, click it, you'll see. And the bottom, you see it says wave to Phil. And above it says send Phil a friend request, which I've done neither. Like, why are you contacting me? Like, what? It irks him that I said elevation angles to Polaris. So like Nathan said, it's bothering him. And, he just needs some relief.
Yep.
I think on some level.
Yeah, John.
I was going to say, I think the reason they've selected you, Neil, is one, that you read them out, but you are also like our social barometer of how well we're distributing our information we have.
Yeah, but I see that with Edibear and freaking Bev, but never Phil Bell.
It's just no different to any of the other creepy dweeb stalkers, though, is he? He's just the same as all of them.
Yeah, and Phil, he's not banned. I know that, right, Nathan?
There's hardly anybody banned.
Yeah, there's Rob Noxious, Edibear, and I think freaking Bev.
I don't even think Edibear's banned, as far as I'm aware.
Brenda,
Edibear, Zanuck, and Rumpus. That's about it. 4 people I could name.
And Rob Noxious for sure.
I don't think Rob Noxious is banned from this chat. That is to say, if he came into this voice chat now, he would be heard.
Yeah, he claims he can't. He's banned. I think.
That's not on my behest, is what I'm saying.
Right, it's from Flipside, which is DD.
There's a good chance that this person's pissed off more people than just me. That is to say, it's not entirely just me that would be feeling the need to get this person banned. Like, most social circles don't have any need to ban anybody. It's very, very rare that anybody would need to get a ban for anything. Why do these people get banned? Oh, well, because this particular individual's a stalker. Like sending sweary messages and things like that to people who don't want to communicate with them. Certainly not at 3 a.m, 4 a.m. That's the kind of thing that these people do. Now, yeah, that'll get you banned. It should get you locked up for being a harassing stalker. But they're moaning that they're getting banned. It's all right. Oh, sorry. Have I precluded you from harassing and stalking me? Should we do a bit more book? Shall I see if I can get my wife to join us? Anybody else up for it? If not, I'll carry on. We'll have a long after show.
It's up to you.
I'd like to hear some more of it. Like, I'm glad it's not reading like a dictionary anymore. I meant to tell you that yesterday. I'm glad you went back to more how it was formatted before than how it was changed to with the citation heavy. Like it read like a dictionary. It read like
Why?
a friggin'
You didn't want the links for YouTube channels?
No, most of them have all gone. I said it on the other day.
Yeah, I agree. It sounds really good. It's flowing beautifully.
Well, I said it the other day, right? When it comes to measurements, how a measurement's performed is completely regardless of how it gets verbalized or defined. How it's done, how it's practically applied, how it's measured is what's critical. Now, if you can measure an elevation angle, then there's a good chance that you can verbalize it and define it so that the next man can understand what it is. Now, what our opponents have taken it upon themselves to do is say the person who defines how this measurement is acquired is the person I need to attack and tell them to change their definition. You're like, no, this is beyond the English language in that regard. It doesn't matter if it had no definition. An elevation angle measurement, the acquisition of a line to the light in the sky, for the example of the show that we've just had, to Polaris, and the line along the ground, is what it is. Now, me doing a crude attempt to define it is me putting into words how that measurement is acquired. But that doesn't suddenly mean that if you get me and my words to alter how I define a line along the ground and a line up to a star, that's going to change what that measurement is. But like I say, these people are barking up the wrong frickin' tree. The standard that's put down is like, well, historically, the way we got the latitude, nobody gives a shit how you say latitude was originally developed. How's it measured now? Well, with Polaris, with an angle off surface level. That's what it is. But you say, oh, no, by historic standard. Nobody gives a fuck what you've got to say about this, dweeb. But you're going to go out of your way to proactively contact people who've got no bearing or influence over how these measurements are utilised, how they're originally invented, or how they're practically applied by people who are navigating with them. You're going to be contacting the people who have got no influence over any of those three things to tell them how the historic standard is blah, 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 blah. Nobody gives a shit. Yeah? Nobody cares.
And it's a red herring anyway. Like, it doesn't matter. That's not the point. You know what I mean? Like, it's not even a red herring. I don't know. It's just like a non sequitur to the whole thing. How you what you do with the measurements afterwards has nothing to do with the measurements.
Exactly.
If you decide to make a ball with those measurements, it doesn't change what the measurements are.
Correct. That's what stunned me with Phil Bell, because he's taking it away from Polaris and just pointing it to another star. Also, okay, even if they did do that, say everything he says is true, you still got an elevation angle, did you not?
Yes. Again, you aren't the one who invented the elevation angle. You're the one, not the one who came up with this system that's described on screen. From the books that you acquire information about, perigee, apogee, orbital planes, the North Pole, the equatorial plane, vernal equinox, none of these things are yours, Neil, are they? So why the fuck is this dweeb contacting you at 4 a.m?
And maybe Refracted's right, because he knows that I'll read it out on the show. So then he gets his little intellectual. Well, it was created in 160 BC, and actually, what they've done was the star's name was, to sound like some sort of freaking intellectual retard. It's funny because he says the star's name was actually Delta Ursae Minoris. Doesn't he sound smart?
Yeah, concede all of it. You can have it all.
Yeah.
Still need a flat plane to get the measurement.
Yep, and that's what the curved nerd wasn't understanding in chat. Everything he tried to use required a flat plane. Well, if I hit a ball in the air, in midair, well, what are you standing on to hit the ball in midair? Talking about a baseball play, he's standing on a flat field. Soccer players kicking the ball from a flat field. Anything you do, if you're describing a vertical, you need a horizontal plane of reference to reference it from. You can't get away from it. You just can't have a vertical in free space floating around.
Yeah, it don't even make sense. Like a vertical is just a 90-degree elevation angle. That's a zenith. The zenith is measured with respect to the horizontal plane. And then they say, no, it's from the center. What center are you talking? It's from the surface. Surface, not center. You can't reference the center of Earth. That's stupid.
Guy tried using tilticles in chat. He tried using what was it? It was about 1 degree of curve on horizontal per 69 miles, and then he started talking about to go with the tilt of vertical. And I said, "Oh, you've got tilticles, huh?" And I said, "Please come on the show. Please come on the show with that."
He got 69 linear miles that he traveled to get 1 degree off a flat plane of change in the angle of a star. And he thought he had curve where?
Oh, boy.
It's just silly.
They constantly bypassing the flat Earth, constantly, and so did we for years. We looked right past it. So, but I think right now what's happening is, especially with Phil Bell and Ed Bear and all these other ones, they're deliberately looking past it now. They see it, but they don't want to see it. The dancing bear's getting bigger and bigger, and now they're going to have to close their eyes.
I was like, you read off that letter from Phil, and I was just thinking, like, before the show just started, we're all looking at that letter, and we're all seeing different pieces of the many flat Earth proofs and facts, flat Earth facts that are just right there, and they just dance around it is a good way to put it.
The big dancing bear, longitude, latitude, elevation angle from a different star. I counted 6. It could be more.
Yeah. But the more time progresses, the more I need people who are around us to realise this isn't your fight. Right? It isn't. Why do you need to defend this on screen? Does this need a fight to take place over it? Will the outcome of
not.
Right. So will there be an alteration to this on screen if you win the fight or Phil wins the fight at 4 in the fucking morning?
No.
No. So therefore their behaviour is completely and utterly unreasonable, isn't it? They're not only barking at the wrong tree, they're barking at the wrong tree at 4 in the fucking morning. Now what happens when that happens metaphorically? You shoot the dog in the head.
I said
What got me?
Oh, go ahead.
What got me was the last part that he said. It's not a coincidence that it is impossible to calculate the distance from one longitude latitude coordinate to another longitude latitude coordinate without using spherical geometry. So obviously, celestial navigation cannot work on a flat Earth. The flat Earth that you described about 8 times in here.
Yeah, don't use the coordinates then. Okay, no worries. If you don't want to use flat Earth elevation angle measurements to form the coordinate system, don't use it. And what you do want to use flat Earth prerequisite elevation angles to form the coordinate system, as we've been depicting on screen for every part of the show for about the last 3 or 4 years. You do want to use them. Then why are we having this conversation? Number one, I'm not the arbiter of how these systems are developed and utilised. Number two, you deciding that you don't want the ground that you need coordinates to be measured flat with to be flat just makes you a nutcase. Doesn't mean that I suddenly have to appeal to you about how wrong you are. Just be wrong somewhere else. Don't be wrong around us. We don't care anymore. The fact that we now appreciate how flat Earth must be for the measurement depicted on screen by a source that we are not. We didn't produce this. Us knowing about it and being able to verbalise it to an audience that are apathetic is irrelevant of this guy's contacting Neil at 4 in the fucking morning. It's just disgraceful.
Well, Nathan, you said the same thing with Alpha Murphy 72. Let's get his name correct because he is like in deep cog this. But here's the thing. You keep saying then don't use it. Don't use the grid system. Don't use flat Earth elevation angle measurements. But they have to, Nathan. What are they supposed to do? You can't just tell them don't use it. They need to use it.
Yeah, so go somewhere else. Use the flat Earth measurements that they absolutely unequivocally need, and then tell some other dweeb how flat it isn't. And you can hope that that dweeb is stupid enough to not realise that your examples use several flat Earth prerequisites. But don't come to us moaning because we're pointing out that you are using flat Earth measurements. You are. But we're not responsible for them. Take ownership of your own measurements. Don't come to us and go, oh, this latitude and longitude grid measured with angles. Like, what are you doing? We understand how that grid's formed. It's formed with angles off a plane. That's how it's measured. But what? The grid bends around a spherical surface? No, it doesn't. It's a measurement of prerequisite angles. And I'm now having a conversation with a cunt I'd sooner break the nose of than be around. But you forced yourself upon us. It's creepy. It's gross. You're in our faces telling us about shit that we haven't got any concern about in defiance of every single principle that's on these diagrams that we did not produce. I'm not responsible for this elevation angle to describe the azimuth and altitude angle. Am I? Have I come up with this? No. But what, Phil feels that we need to be told how wrong it is? You're using it. What's that? You don't like our flat? Don't use it then, but don't tell me about it. Or what, so you do want to use it, you just don't want us to point out how flat it is so that you can then describe how ball-shaped it is after you've used the flat measurements, and you prefer we weren't around ruining that for you. Oh, right.
Just so you know, your sustainable by design citation is still good. They didn't change the definition, so you can still use it. They can't be nothing said about it.
Yeah, they never said they changed it. They just said they added to it. I got millions of messages on that too. They didn't change it. Use a cherry picking. They just added what was necessary. Oh, jeez.
Yeah, what they want is the line along the ground that's measured to be imaginary. That's what they want, right? Okay, no worries. You can say that the angles used when measured to form your ball are imaginary. So I'll go, okay, so you haven't got any measurements then. Just imaginary, right? So not real measurements. You haven't got a ball that you've derived from any actual practical measurements of Earth's surface. They're imaginary, right? And you go, no. I mean, they're still useful to develop a ball that we definitely are standing on after we calculate into existence the sphericity from these imaginary measurements. Are you fucking nuts? So you want them to be imaginary. Okay, they're imaginary. You got no measurements then, they're just imaginary. Oh, you want it both ways? You want to have imaginary measurements that form real balls? No, you're just delusional. You're an idiot. But what's that? You've managed to go and change how it's verbalized by a cited source? Wow! I mean, that really did change how this angle on screen got measured. Oh, it didn't. It didn't do anything. And if you want to say that this angle on screen from surface level is imaginary, you can do that. I mean, obviously, I'll just turn around and go, well, okay, I mean, if you're building your balls with imaginary measurements, then you haven't got any measurements. You can't really ask me to believe in a surface that's curved because you've measured it with imagination land. That's useless, isn't it?
No, that's not. The definition did not get changed. It doesn't say that it's an imaginary line along the ground. It doesn't say that.
Yeah, they said they didn't change it. They said they added on stuff that needed to be added on, which
they added on sustainable design by design, added on their disclaimers of their faith afterwards.
I see. So they say, yeah, we measure the horizontal plane the observer is standing on. But that doesn't mean it's flat. Okay. Well, you've got to measure a horizontal plane the observer is standing on, as per the definition from Sustainable by Design. The thing is, though, I don't care what sus design define things as anymore. Now, I'm producing literature of my own, aren't I? It's going to have my name on it. Yeah? Then you can appeal to what I say in terms of how I define things. The problem is that when you come to me and say, Nathan, I don't like how you defined the horizontal plane the observer must be standing on to acquire this angle, I'll give you one of those looks and then go, fuck off! I couldn't give a flying fuck what you, a dweeb, have got to say about what I've written down. So go fuck yourself, you stupid dweeb. That's what I'll say to you when I define what an elevation angle is. And define it I will.
Wait a second.
Well,
Before Sustainable by the... Go ahead, John.
I was just saying, my point is that even though they got him to cuck to his religion, their complaints were still ineffectual in having the definition changed. It's not, the add-on is irrelevant.
Well, refracted, to be technically correct. All right. The line going up to, say, the sun, it is imaginary. We're imagination in our minds, we're imagining a line going straight up to the thing. There's no line. I don't see no line. So fine. And the same thing with the horizontal baseline. But we are standing on the surface. Right?
Right.
So if you want to get technical, I don't see a black line.
We're not
There
doing
is
anything.
path information from the sun to that stick to the end of that shadow. The existence of that path information can be proven. There is a line of sight.
Yep.
It's not imaginary.
Yeah, it's a real measurement. With that, I'm going to say another massive thank you to both Discord and G Plus panels for making this limited after show possible. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
But when you measure it flat, it contradicts that. I'm spitting flat facts and that. And I know you don't like that. Google Maps is flat, it presents elevation profiles like that. I'm a spitting flat earth king. Sentence has a ring, doing my own thing. If earth was a big roast chicken, factually finger licking chicken. We just got the measurements missing. I'm spitting eggs and begs, begging the question lesson. I've said it before, time after time. I'm the spitting flat earth king of rhyme.